Before today's video, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest videos. If you want to see a case or topic covered by Paranormally Listed, then go to criminallylisted.com and fill out the questionnaire under the Suggest a Case tab. Number 3. The Phoenix Brewing Company. The Phoenix Brewing Company was established in 2014 in Mansfield, Ohio. The brewery is named after the mythical bird that rose from the ashes because the founders believed it symbolized the area's rebirth. The brewery has a tap room with 16 beers and an area for live music. One thing that makes the Phoenix Brewing Company unique, and may be the reason it's on this video, is its location. It was formerly the Shore Mortuary and Funeral Home. The building had been vacant for 50 years before the brewery was established. The mortuary and funeral home started life as a furniture company in 1857. Charles Schwartz's furniture company displayed furniture in mock household settings, unique for its time. The store was popular and people traveled from other cities to visit the showroom. In 1895, Charles Schwartz's son, Charles Schwartz Jr., joined the business. The company was successful into the 20th century. The company specialized in cabinets, but eventually expanded into making coffins. In the early 1900s, it was customary for cabinet makers to build coffins. Besides manufacturing coffins, they also decided to build a mortuary, which stores dead bodies, and a funeral home. The mortuary building, which was completed in 1914, was the first fireproof building in Mansfield. Charles Sr. died in his home on February 9, 1921, at the age of 82. Charles Jr. took over the business, but tragedy struck again 11 years later. On February 28, 1932, 59-year-old Charles Jr. shot himself in the building's chapel after discovering he had a terminal illness. The mortuary closed shortly afterward. The furniture company operated until November 1963. After they closed, the buildings were left vacant. Bizarre things happened when the building was being renovated for the brewery. For example, workers found some human bones under some concrete. The police collected the remains. The former embalming and prep building became the brewery's equipment storage area, and the former chapel became the tap room. Since opening, there have been several ghostly encounters. Staff and customers have said it's felt like someone's brushed up against them or bumped into their chair, but when they look around, they see that no one is behind them. Staff working in the third floor attic said it feels like someone is watching them. Sometimes it feels like someone or something is breathing on their neck. Paranormal researchers and professional ghost hunters have visited the building and said it's rife with paranormal activity. Paranormal researchers saw multiple orbs in the pictures taken in the building, while ghost hunters recorded EMF activity and recorded voices. In one case, researchers claimed to have contacted a male spirit who admitted to not liking beer but was happy people had returned to the building. The Phoenix Brewing Company has taken advantage of its ghostly tenants by offering ghost hunts by appointment. Business usually picks up around Halloween. Number 2. Miller Brewery. Miller Brewery is one of North America's biggest names in beer. Its brands such as Miller High Life and Miller Lite are well known to beer drinkers and beyond. The Miller Brewing Company was founded in 1855. The Molson Coors Brewing Company currently owns the brewery, which is located in Milwaukee and is one of Wisconsin's biggest employers. The brewery is also one of the state's most haunted locations. In the 1850s, caves were dug out and used to keep beer cool while aging. The company stored beer there until 1906, when mechanical refrigeration became more commonplace. In the 1950s, Miller turned the caves into a museum. Supposedly, the cave is home to a sad tragedy. The story goes, in the 19th century, two young employees were lovers. Every Saturday, they would stroll hand in hand through the caves. Then, one Saturday, the young man didn't show up for their rendezvous. The young woman was disappointed and left the caves. She learned that her lover suffered a severe head injury after falling down the stairs in the cave. The young man eventually died of his injuries. The young lady was so distraught that she also died. Doctors determined she had died of a lung ailment, but those who knew her claimed she died of a broken heart. For many years, staff have claimed that the young lovers make their presence known in the caves. Some staff have reported seeing ghostly figures in the same spot where the woman waited for her lover. A security guard has heard footsteps and thought there was a trespasser. He ran in the direction of the footsteps, only to discover no one was there. One Miller employee said she heard a woman whispering, quote, "I will wait for you," unquote. That employee quit the next day. Another employee claimed she saw the couple passionately kissing before suddenly vanishing. According to the brewery guest relations manager, conjure, the employee, quote, turned as white as a ghost and asked to go home, unquote. Laversky added, quote, the employee stayed away for a week, unquote. The brewery's other ghostly guest is named Hans. In a former life, Hans Slender was a proprietor and barman of the Miller Inn, which was on the brewery's property. The inn was built in 1892 to house workers. Workers stayed there before cars were commonplace and horses were the most effective commute method. The Miller Inn is now an event space for the company. Hans left the company in the 1940s under bad terms and died shortly afterward. People have said that since his death, Hans still hangs out at the inn. Some employees have said they saw lights flickering, felt sudden temperature drops, and telephones ringing for no reason. In another instance, one employee saw the player piano playing, only to discover it was not plugged in. But brewery staff consider Hans a prankster more than an evil presence. Kindra Loffertsky said, quote, you literally just have to say, Hans, knock it off, and you'll stop, unquote. The paranormal investigators of Milwaukee have made 4 trips to the brewery since 2015. Armed with thermal imaging cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic field detectors, the team have spent multiple nights investigating the caves and the inn. When the group investigated in 2018, they claimed they heard a woman's voice and saw shadows flickering. While their investigations have come up inconclusive, they believe that there is much to be discovered in the Miller Inn and caves. Number 1. The Church Brew Works. When visiting the Church Brew Works in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's Lawrenceville neighborhood, you might expect a modern pub with a hip decor. Instead, the bar's aesthetic is inspired by the building's original tenants, St. John the Baptist Church. The church was constructed in 1902. When it was the church, it was the heart of the heavily industrialized area. Over the years, a rectory and school were added to the property. Parishioners worshipped there for almost a century. After World War II, the steel boom eventually declined, and residents left the area. The school closed in the 1970s, and the church officially disbanded in 1993. For 3 years, the building was vacant. Then, in 1996, the Church Brew Works began operating in the church. Patrons can sit on former church pews and gaze at stained glass windows. Also, the church organ, which isn't functional, still stands to the back of the church. The former rectory is now the brewery's office. However, some of the property, such as the school, have remained untouched. Staff have avoided certain areas of the property because they believe they are haunted. Nervous employees have said they have an eerie feeling they are being watched when no one is around. People have also heard sounds they can't explain. For example, they have heard faint organ music even though the organ is non-functional. Some have heard children giggling in the tank room. The sounds of someone banging on the tables when no one is around is another common occurrence. They have also seen swivel chairs move on their own. There are 2 prominent ghosts that haunt the brewery. The staff considers one to be a prankster. A cook said this entity will intentionally spill supplies or tug on his jacket as he works. The other entity is a young woman in a white dress. Some staff members have seen her appear, walk away, and then vanish. Church Brew Works owner Sean Casey is skeptical about the brewery being haunted, but he did admit he has experienced some strange things. He said, quote, "You get certain vibes. You set something down and then it goes missing, or unplug something at night and it's plugged in the next morning. You sort of shake your head and move on," unquote. However, since his staff felt uneasy, he had paranormal investigators come to the brewery. The Atlantic Paranormal Society, also known as TAPS, spent a few nights investigating the building. TAPS interviewed a local historian who told them about a young girl, Marcella Day, who died of pneumonia in 1918. Her funeral was likely held in the church. The team also dug into the property's history before the church was built. It was previously a park. In July 1864, a woman named Maria Houston was shot to death by her husband in the park. They believe Marcella or Maria could be the woman in the white dress. TAPS recorded footsteps and faint voices on their recording device during their investigation. One of the clips picked up a voice saying, "Jesus." They have also used a GS2 laser grid to monitor activity and temperature fluctuations in the schoolhouse on the property. TAPS left believing there was genuine paranormal activity happening in the brewery. However, they believe the entities are attracted to the brewery for positive reasons. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. If you did find it interesting, please make sure you subscribe. We'll have a new video about the paranormal every week. If you just discovered this channel, please make sure you check out our other channel, Criminally Listed. We have over 325 videos featuring bizarre but true crime stories. You can find it at youtube.com/criminallylisted. We also have a podcast about cold cases that were eventually solved called Criminally Listed Presents Into the Killing. You can find it on Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you find great podcasts. But that's all for today. Thanks again for watching.